That meant to be London.
My name's Estefania. I am a Latina. I know you guys have been to Brazil and all of that. Oh my God. I don't have like any of the usual perks that Latinos have. For example, like I don't have an hourglass figure. Stop being perverted. That is not an invitation to look at my body. Thanks a lot, guys. I don't have an hourglass figure, but I do have other things that Latinos have that you guys probably saw, you know, like frizzy hair. Yeah, a permanent mustache. Yeah, and I've got a brother in the Mexican cartel. It's amazing. We're not even Mexican. My family come from Panama. I grew up in Miami, Florida, but I live here in London now, which makes for some conflicting observations, you know? My family in Panama look at me and they're like, you are just so American. You know, and my friends in Miami are like, babe, I think you're actually really Latino. Meanwhile, all you guys in London just look at me and you're just like, I just find you really jarring. I get it. I get it. Like, I know what I sound like. Like, I was at this restaurant the other day, and I was seated next to this table next to a bunch of American girls. And I was, like, listening into their conversation because I had no choice. We've all been there. And I just thought to myself, fuck, I live in the same city and I sound like that. Like, I'm gonna have to start, you know, next time an English person goes up to me and goes, wait, babe, so are you American then? I'm just gonna have to start gaslighting them. You know, babe, so are you American then? I'm just gonna be like, no hablo inglés. Just hope for the best. I do live in East London. I'm a local. Yes, I do live in East London. I really love it here. I really care about the environment, right? I care about where I shop. I care about where I'm spending my money. You know, so I'm really close to Brick Lane, you know, and all the secondhand shops and all the independent people. I really appreciate that. And I came across this really great place that you guys have called Cash Converters. So good. I got this necklace there the other day. And I was like, I actually am obsessed with this. So I went back to the shop and I was just like, I need to know the provenance of this piece. Tell me a little bit more about the maker, you know? And the guy behind the plexiglass just told me that a woman dropped it off hours earlier because she needed money to buy crack. So shop local. Definitely shop local. But yeah, like I said, I grew up in Miami, Florida, which is just as toxic as they make it seem on the news. You know, Miami is filled with like beautiful Latin American women and men who like to fuck alligators. You know, it's really a lot. Like, I'm only realizing now that my best friend's dad was actually a drug dealer growing up. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with that. I just wish that I had a plug. Then I wouldn't have had to smoke so much oregano. Have you guys heard about the Florida man theory? Do you guys know, have you heard about like weird Florida man? People are nodding, right? Okay. If you haven't heard about Florida man theory, it's that there is something so fucked up in the news that has happened in Florida every single day of the year that you could Google Florida man plus your birthday. And the most insane newsline will show up, okay? So like, fuck your horoscopes, right? If you're like on a first date, you don't need that. Okay, for example, you can switch it up. For example, me, December 24th. Florida man arrested for having drugs on his penis that he claims weren't his. It's just so good. It's just so good. You can't make it up. I'm like I said, I'm Latin, so I am really hairy, unfortunately. I've gotten laser 4 times and it came back 4 times with a vengeance. Someone's mouth was agog. Especially living here in the UK, because, you know, I'll go and get a wax and stuff, and the woman's like, all right, babe, like, what would you like? Like, you're gonna do your bikini, you're gonna do your inner thigh, like, do you want a bit of a Hollywood? And I was like, babe, just keep pouring the wax and I will tell you when. Don't embarrass me here, you know, I'm on Treatwell, and they're like, what services would you like to get done? And I'm like, there is no more options left. Like, my cousin always knows when I'm hooking up with somebody, and I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? She's like, I know you're hooking up with somebody. My cousin's in MS-13. She goes, I know you started hooking up with somebody. I'm like, what? How can you tell? And she's like, because you started shaving your toe hairs. It's nice to feel seen sometimes, right? I did start going to therapy, all right? You know, I know this come up a few times. My mom, I grew up Catholic, and my mom said to me, she's like, what do you need to talk about with your therapist that you can't talk about with God? I was like, well, you, for starters. You know, like I do a lot of different things to unwind now. Like, I don't know about you guys, I just sort of like stopped dating, it got a little bit difficult. Instead, I found something else called Reformer Pilates. Has anyone ever been? Yeah, if you want to quit dating, I suggest Reformer Pilates because you spend 35 pounds for 1 hour. A man tells you what to do while you're on your back, and at the end, he throws a towel at you and tells you to clean up after yourself. It's great. It's an experience. But I do love living here in the UK. I think it's really cool. Everyone here really loves traveling, right? You guys are away every weekend. You're obsessed with it. It's kind of all you work for, isn't it? I really don't like traveling. I recently came back from an all expenses paid trip. Thank you. An all expenses paid trip with my parents. And I wonder what you're thinking. Like, okay, this person's 30. Like, what was the rooming situation on this all expenses paid trip? And I will say, like, proudly, I did have my own cot at the foot of my parents' bed. Yeah, it was really nice. There's nothing like traveling to a foreign country with a Latin American mother. She's very doubtful. She doesn't like to be ripped off. And we went to Egypt. And when we were in Egypt, we were walking around the museum, and we were in the tomb, of all the different like kings, right? You see all the sarcophagi. Tutankhamun wasn't there; he was on tour, like a rock star. But we saw Ramses and all these sort of things. And my mom walks around, and she goes, "Wow, look at that! It almost looks real." My tour guide did not like that. I initially moved to London so that I could diversify my friend group. And by that, I mean marry upwards. And I was hoping that being Latina would like deem me like interesting or like exotic enough that I could like marry the Earl of Sandwich. I learned who he was on British Airways when I ate a sandwich. So what I did was I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to make some friends in high places. So I befriended a girl called Cressida. And I knew that Cressida came from money because when I asked her, she was like, oh no, babe, I'm not rich. I'm actually upper middle class. Now I'm really good friends with Cressida's entire friend group, Millie, Tilly, Lily, Molly, and Polly. It's so wonderful. We're just the best of friends. Just the best of friends. They do this really wild thing where they leave their really well-paid jobs and just go like follow their dreams. Do you guys know about this? Tilly would be like, isn't it so noble of Lily to leave her job as a lawyer to start that line of bamboo-based yoga leggings? She's just gotten VC funding. And then it turns out the VC is just her dad. No, it's too much, it's too much. I'm the daughter of a boy mom. Does anyone know what a boy mom is? Okay, so does someone say woo? Are you a boy mom? Yeah, right, okay, so there's the boy mom. Well, thank you for supporting another woman. That's how I know you're not a boy mom. Thank you. Oh, it's so nice to feel heard. My mom has 2 sons and then she has me. But there's something called a boy mom, which means it's like sort of just like this, there's just like a little bit of like internal misogyny, right? So there's a really famous boy mom, her name is Shakira. Shakira of, probably the only Shakira you guys might know. And Shakira recently said in the news that when she watched the Barbie movie with her 2 sons, she thought it was emasculating. And it reminded me a lot of someone I knew back home. And my mom is obsessed with her sons. I get it. It's totally fine. They're the apple of her eye. And she was, I know a lot of secrets about my brother. Like I said, he's in the Mexican cartel. Name redacted. He's in the Mexican cartel, and I was like, I wanted to have something on him, so I thought, what can I do to get him in trouble in front of my mom, even though we are in our 30s? So I looked at him in the eye right in front of my mom, and I go, yo, have you ever tried crack? Because I knew the answer. And he proudly goes, yeah, I've tried crack. I've tried it once, like everyone else. And I'm looking at my mom, and I'm like, Mom, what are you going to do about this? Like, what are you going to do about this? And she's like, what? He said he only tried it once. Everyone's entitled to try crack at least once. It's just really not the answer I was expecting. It's not what I was expecting. I have started to be a little bit more open about my bisexuality. Thank you. Mainly because being quiet about it wasn't getting me enough attention. And so like I looked to my friends and I asked for their advice. I was like, you guys, like, what should I do? Like, you know, should I go for men? Should I go for women? Should I go for non-binary people? What's the deal? What's the dating tea? And they were like, Estefania, we just think you need to get rid of men altogether. Men are trash. Men are absolute trash. And while I do agree men can be trash, I still like to do my bit and recycle.